Hi, welcome back to the kitchen. Look where we find ourselves. Happy Sunday. Today, I thought we'd make chocolate chip cookies. Now my sister over for dinner. Jeff has had a taste for shrimp and lobster, so he bought a couple of lobster tails and some shrimp. I don't eat it, but I'm gonna make it for them. And I'm gonna do all of that on the grill. And I bought some asparagus for them as well. And I'm going to do some butter steakhouse, what do they call it? Yeah, butter steakhouse potatoes. So we'll start with the chocolate chip cookies. I can show you the prep for the lobster and the shrimp. Not going to be all that exciting or hard to cook because I'm going to do it all on the grill. I'm going to do the shrimp on the flat top on the grill, and I'm going to wrap the lobster in foil with a little bit of butter and a little bit of water in the bottom and let them kind of steam. And the asparagus I was going to do in the oven, but maybe I'll throw those on the grill as well. I definitely could do that. All right, so we'll get started with the chocolate chips. Just, you know, here we go, cooking on vibes. That's how we roll around here. So I have taken a couple of different chocolate chip cookie recipes that I have found, and we're going to combine them and see how it goes. A lot of people are they shy away from baking because they figure it's so precise. I suppose, I mean, technically, yes, but not around here. So we're going to go ahead. I've gotten everything out, as you may be able to see over here. Brown sugar, and this is all the sugar substitute stuff. So the Splenda brown sugar, the monk fruit in place of the white sugar, AP flour. I'm almost out of it. I want to use what I have left and then we'll refill. Baking soda, kosher salt, vanilla. As you may remember from other videos, I am a vanilla bean paste girl. I'll never go back to extract, let me tell you. And once you try it, you won't either. Recipe calls for 2 sticks of butter. So one of them I've had out overnight. The other one I just taken out recently, but I think it'll be fine. It'll be fine. 2 eggs. And then this one recipe calls for chocolate chips. So I got the Lily's chocolate chips. They have no added sugar in them. And I got dark chocolate because that will have even less total sugars. Chopped walnuts because I just feel like having nuts in my cookies. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today's one of those I do's. And crushed potato chips. So I happen to have 1 bag left of those ones that I had gotten from Thrive Market, if you remember that Thrive Market haul last month. So I've already kind of crunched them up, and I bought chopped walnuts, but I wanted them to be a little bit smaller, so I already went ahead and I chopped those up as well. So that's already done, and I have the recipe right here, so I will refer back to it. You know, I tried to have everything ready, and what didn't I get? I didn't get out the noisiest things. I didn't get out the cookie sheets, and I didn't get out the measuring cups and stuff. So I'm going to grab those. And these cookies we're going to do a little differently. I saw a lady do them on whatever it is I'm watching, YouTube, but I think hers is TikTok. Somehow TikTok's come across on YouTube and Facebook. I don't understand how it all works, and I'm on this silly stuff, so I don't know. At any rate, and what she does is she takes the cookie dough and she kind of makes it into almost a football shape, like a little cylinder, and then put it tall side up on the cookie sheet, and you put them in the oven that way, and then we cook them and you let them bake down a little bit, but once you take them out of the oven, they collapse on their own, but it still leaves them kind of thick. So we're going to give that a try. And that's how we're trying this out today. So, let me get the measuring stuff and we'll get going. Just cups and spoons out of here. We don't need the cookie sheets just yet, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I did want to get something to mix the dry ingredients in, so I will grab one of my trusty little clear glass measuring cups to mix all that in. I know, it's noisy. I tried. I'm perfectly imperfect human here. So, starting with the dry ingredients, recipe calls for 2 1/4 cup AP flour. AP is all-purpose, if you weren't aware. Now you are. So, 2 1/4 cups. How's your weekend so far? It is Sunday afternoon. Jeff is at a meeting, so I have a quiet house for a moment or two. There's one. I think this is going to work out to be just about that too. Oh, last night we went to the movies. Haven't been to the movies in a long time. I can tell you I haven't been to the movies since I moved here. Okay, 2 cups. I'm going to give that in there as part of the 2 cups. And then we just need a 1/4 cup. So we're going to open this. So we saw Hail Mary. It's a cute movie. So this is my opinion. Everybody I know that has seen it raves about it. And I will say most of the people that have seen it also read the book. So they knew kind of what they were getting into with it. I have not read the book. I'm going to dump this upside down. So I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody other than to let you know my opinion of it. Modern day ET. Modern problems. Okay. That's my opinion of it. Wasn't an ET lover. And it's not that I don't necessarily believe or disbelieve in extraterrestrial beings. I don't know. It was cute. It was entertaining. As far as I don't want to say cinematography, as far as storytelling goes, they did a really good job because there was a lot of going back to the past and then coming into their future, the future of the movie. And they did that very well. So in that respect, good. All right. So 2 1/4 cups AP flour, 1 teaspoon kosher salt. I keep kosher salt, as you know, in my little bamboo keeper. And I have unsalted butter because I'm using kosher salt, because I'm using salt, period. There are plenty of times where I don't have unsalted butter and I use salted, and it's fine. It doesn't affect the recipe. It doesn't really affect the taste. So don't sweat it. If you don't have unsalted butter, you use what you got. Okay. Baking soda, 1 teaspoon. Okay. 1 teaspoon baking soda. I'm going to give this a little whisk. And we're just going to set that aside. In the blender, with the paddle attachment, if you have a KitchenAid, or I think Ninja makes one as well. I don't know. I have a KitchenAid. KitchenAid is what I know. So paddle attachments, you may recall I have 2. This one has the spatula. Put it on the front of my shirt because my shirt's white. This has the spatula on the side, so it kind of scrapes the bowl as it goes. And then this one doesn't. Does it matter? No, because I'm probably going to pull out a spatula and use it anyway. But I will use the spatula one. And we're going to put in our 2 sticks of softened butter. one is not as soft as the other. It'll be fine. All right. And then it's 3/4 cup of each sugar. And I'm just gonna kind of wipe down this piece of paper, the little wax paper that the butter is on the spatula. I have a towel here for messy hands because I didn't grab an apron. Oh, let that sit for a minute. So my new thing is I really like these short sleeve sweaters. I have 2 that are not quince, and all the rest of them that I have are quince. They're really lightweight. I probably just hit that microphone and you weren't, this one's acrylic. I like the quince ones because I get the ones that are cotton. And I think they're like 95% cotton and only 3% cashmere. And then the other 2% is like a spandex type of thing, I think. So I really like the quince over this, but this is what I have. I only have 2 of the quince ones. I think I have one in gray, one in pink. And then my girlfriend kind of got me started on it last year. She got me one from Quince. It was a cashmere one in a really pretty heathered rose color. My jeans are my favorite jeans. They are the Oliver Logan jeans, and they are the button fly. And it is their Chester is the cut. So it's a low rise and a straight leg. It's got a slight taper to it, and a finished hem, which I'm kind of over the frayed hems. I mean, they're okay on some things, but I don't want every pair of jeans I own to have the frayed hem. So these have a nice finished hem. Remind me just a lot of an old-fashioned Levi. And given the price of Levi's, they're probably about the same anymore. So back over here. We have our 2 sticks of butter, and we're going 3/4 cup. I don't have a 3/4 cup, so we are going to make 3/4 cups, 1/2 and 1/4. We'll give you 3/4, okay, of white and brown sugar. So that's the 1/2, and there's the 1/4. And let me tell you, if you are trying to be healthier and you're looking to cut your sugars and you're using any of the sugar alternates, monk fruit, coconut sugar is another one that's got a low glycemic index. It's so expensive. They certainly don't make it easy for you to try and be healthy. Now, the Splenda brown sugar is not a 1-for-1. The monk fruit is a 1-for-1. So 3/4 cup of the Splenda brown sugar is 1/4 plus 2 tablespoons. I keep all my stuff, as you know, in these containers, but for these kind of things, I just cut it out. I cut out the conversion and I just leave it sit in there. So going with the 1/4 cup. And then we're going to add the 2 tablespoons. With brown sugar, you pack it tight. Okay. So, and how do you know it's packed well? When it comes out, it'll hold its shape. Okay. So that's how you know you've got it packed in there good and tight. It'll hold the shape of whatever it is that you're measuring it into. Oops. And I said 2 tablespoons, right? We're going to go ahead again, going to press in, and even though it slid out, it kept its shape. So there's 1, and there's 2. Okay. And then 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. You know my preference with the vanilla, and we are going to just kind of measure with our heart, and I'm definitely going over 1 teaspoon just because that's the way I like it. That's probably 2 teaspoons. So good. And that's just because that's the way I like it. All right, so that's that. We're gonna cream these together. Creaming is just, it's gonna do just that. It's gonna come into a cream. We're gonna do that as long as this is plugged in. There we go. So that can do its own thing. Once that's creamed, we're gonna put the eggs in. So I'll just go ahead and crack my eggs into this little dish. And then I'll pop them in the bowl once that comes together. And it's a success when we don't have any shells. And you'll notice over here, I have a bunch of lettuce and I have some hard-boiled eggs. So they had a good sale on eggs at the store, and we kind of stocked up on eggs, and I want to make sure that I use them before they go bad. So I boiled a dozen eggs, and we can have egg sandwiches. I'll use some of them to make an egg salad. I almost prefer just slicing the eggs and putting it on the bread. And some people just like to eat them plain. Every once in a while I do too. Just grab the salt shaker and salt that egg and chomp away. All right, this is coming along nicely. Let's see if we can move this out. You got a pretty decent shot of that. So I'm going to turn it up just a little more. Exciting. Started following a guy. I don't know how these people come across my feed, but I'm grateful that they do. This gentleman, he's a comedian as well, but he does his own DIY home renovations, and he's hilarious because he's like, welcome to another edition of Fuck This House. It just costs so much to have people come out and do things. So he tries to do as much as he can on his own. And I mean, he just kind of shows you everything that's going on. The other day he was, what was he doing? Pulling something up, and then there were a bunch of ants underneath this piece of wood he pulled up. So, he's like, what is that? And he didn't have any ant killer. He only had wasp killer, so he used the wasp killer on them. And it was funny. Do I remember his name? No, sorry. I'll come across it though. All right. So this is, going to stick that in there, but you know what? It's going to get all wound up. So this is nicely creamed. What does that look like? Just like that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead, turn that back on, dump our eggs in, turn that up a little bit higher, let that do its thing while I rinse this out. And once this egg is incorporated nicely, I'm going to go ahead and add the dry ingredients in. And if I were using my metal bowl, which I don't do when I'm trying to make a video because you can't see through the metal bowl, so I feel like you kind of miss what things look like, thus the glass bowls. Now, your texture, if you're using real sugar, will probably be slightly different than the texture on mine. And that's just the way it is when we're using sugar substitutes. Okay. I just like can make vegan chocolate chip cookies. I'm sure the texture is going to be different as well because They just don't all come together the same. Doesn't make them any less good. All right. So going back in and on low. And I'm just going to use the scoop. Oh, so I started saying, if I had the metal bowl, I actually have a guard that goes over this with a little slanted chute that you can just pour, but it doesn't fit on the glass bowl. So I'm just going to go ahead, pop this in here, a little bit at a time. I'm not waiting on it to incorporate before I do each one, no. Can you? Absolutely. Have at it. All right, that's there. Spilled a tiny bit. I doubt that's going to make any kind of difference, but we'll get it in there. Looking like cookie dough. I'm just going to turn that off. I'm going to scrape the sides down. A little bit of flour on top of the paddle attachment there. And just check out the bottom of the bowl, because sometimes at the bottom of the bowl, even though we poured the flour in, it's going to settle down there, and a little bit of it did, so perfect. Dump that off of here. Nice. Okay. Let it mix a bit more. And I'm going to add in chocolate chips, potato chips. Good. That vanilla. I'm telling you, that vanilla is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and pop the nuts in. I might want more nuts than that. I'm going to put the whole bag of chocolate chips. It asks for 2 cups. 8 ounces is a cup. This bag, I think, is 12. It's 9 ounces. That'll be more than enough. And a lot of times they're going to tell you when you're making cookies and stuff not to do your mix-ins by hand. Cooking on vibes here. You see, I'm just kind of throwing a few more walnuts in there. Since my first batch of walnuts I crushed up pretty well, those I'm going to go ahead and just leave as whatever shape, and we might break down a little more. And then here's our chips. Throw those chips in there. Nope, never had any chips in it. Sounded like it was going to be interesting. Who doesn't like that whole salty sweet combo? Okay. We got cookie dough. Pretty simple stuff. What is it? We are 23 minutes in on the video and your cookie dough's ready. So, you know, if you didn't, you're not talking to the camera, you're not stopping to show somebody what you're wearing, we're not getting sidetracked with little stories, it probably will take you 15 minutes to mix it up, or less. Okay. And sometimes you don't, clean up as you go. You clean up all at once at the end, then that's also not going to take time. And it's so much healthier. You know everything that's in these cookies now. I mean, if we're going to do something unhealthy, like have cookies, we might as well. Now, this is a cookie base. This whole flour, salt, baking soda, butter, white sugar, brown sugar, vanilla extract, egg. That's your base for almost any cookie. What do you want to do from there? Do you want to throw oatmeal and raisins in there? Throw oatmeal and raisins in there. If you're going to do the oatmeal, add a little more moisture. When I do oatmeal cookies, I will take applesauce and put applesauce in them for a little more moisture. And there we are. I'm going to use my fingers to just get as much of the dough off of this paddle. You know, where does that come from? Being a kid maybe, and you know, not having a lot. Whenever my mom would make cookies or cake or whatever, she was always getting as absolute much of the batter off as she could. Probably came from her mother, who probably grew up in the Depression. I guess. Okay. Wash my hands. Go ahead and wash this paddle off as well. I like to clean as I go. I don't want to have a huge mess to deal with at the end. I will turn the camera off just to get my cookie sheets out because it's so incredibly loud and I don't want you guys to go deaf having to hear that. Oh, and I'll tell you about the other thing I did yesterday, in case you didn't watch my videos from yesterday. I will fill you in on that. All right, so we'll be right back with you. I'm just gonna... Okay, we're back. I wasn't gone that long. I did wash up all of the dishes that we used. I did put all of the stuff away. As you can see, we have a relatively clean counter. Grabbed the cookie sheets. Got our parchment in there, and of course I saved the parchment from the last time I used my cookie sheets, so they were ready to go. Now, because these are supposed to be so big, I've got my large cookie scoop, and I'm going to play around with that and just see if I want to do 2 scoops or 1.5, how I want that to look. And let's see, what's 2 look like? It's like a lot of cookie. Okay. And this is what she's saying. So you can see I kind of made them into these football shapes and then putting it down. Oh, what the other guy recommended. Take your kosher salt, a light sprinkle of kosher salt on the bottom of your cookie sheet. So, can I do that? Because whether I do them like this or not, there we go. That's what the one guy said. And we're just going to try and make these about the same size because you want them to cook evenly, right? We're going to have all this same one on the tray. And now, like I said, I'm taking from 2 different recipes, and the lady is the one that stood them up like this. And she only did 2 on each cookie sheet. So I'm only going to do 2 columns of 2 as well. Okay. I did forget to turn my oven on. Don't be like me, turn your oven on. But it's coming up pretty quickly. The oven should be at 375. And I did turn that on as well while we were off camera. Making these little football shapes. Trying to make these. God, it seems like an awful lot of cookie dough, guys. I don't know. Like, that's a lot of cookie. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to mess with somebody else's system. I'm willing to give it a try. I'm going to do some her way, and then I'm going to do some my way. And we're just going to see. I don't want to say my way, but the way that I'm a little more used to doing them. So, did she have a regular size cookie sheet? I've got some really big cookie sheets. Well, I'm going to leave them there because that's kind of where they're stuck. So I was going to tell you, in case you didn't watch my videos from yesterday, did multiple activities. Went on a hike where I ran into a couple of my husband's friends, which was funny, you know, to be out out in the woods, basically, hiking, and to run into somebody that you know. So did that, and then went to a labyrinth walk. Unbeknownst to me, yesterday was World Labyrinth Day. I love a labyrinth. If you're not familiar with a labyrinth, it is... Lots of people think that they're mazes. They're not mazes. Mazes are designed to kind of confuse you, and there's ends and stopping points, and then you got to turn around and go back, and it's not what a labyrinth is. A labyrinth is, it's got one way in and one way out, and I find them to be metaphorically like life in general. I'm gonna move these a little bit. One way in, one way out. And usually you walk a labyrinth with other people, and everybody will walk at their own pace. As with life, we go through this life at our own pace. One way in, one way out. So our temperature in the oven just came up. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to pop these cookies in the middle rack. See, they're all standing up like little, I don't know, what, little stone hedges? Put them in there. I want to set the timer for, I'm going to set this timer for 9 minutes because these are bigger than the ones the guy was making. Our next ones will use 7 minutes. So back to the labyrinth. And if you take the labyrinth at your pace, it's a very contemplative walk. And maybe you go in there with a question, maybe you start your walk with a question, or there's something you want to release. Different people will facilitate labyrinth walks differently. I have a girlfriend that did one, and I thought it was really interesting. I enjoyed her labyrinth walk, of course, where she had just random words on a piece of paper, positive words, and they were in a bowl. And we, grabbed the word from the bowl, and we just looked at our word, and that was our word. And we could let that be our point of focus, or you could go in with something. And I honestly have not done a labyrinth where I haven't ended up crying, which just sounds crazy because all you're doing is walking. But I guess if you're doing it right, if you're doing that whole labyrinth thing right, it's bound to bring some things up. And, not to question it, not to try and dive deep into it, just kind of let it come, let it go, let it be. I tell my students that all the time in class, because emotions are going to come up, especially when we do hip work. So I did the labyrinth walk, and so it's husband and wife, and they moved here about a year ago, have a nice piece of property, a modest house, and then on the back they have a fifth wheel trailer, and they have a swimming pool, and they have it as a retreat. So they can accommodate ones or twos. So it could be couples, or it could be, you and a girlfriend, or, if you're guys, and guys can go too. Okay, this isn't just a woman thing. But you can go, and she has the labyrinth for you to do. And her main thing is color affirmation. So you could look that up. First of all, the site for her is Soul Quest Retreat, and that's SOL. Soul Quest Retreat, because initially I put it in as SOUL. and that was not correct. So just letting you know that. And you could look it up. And then her color affirmation stuff will be there. She works with schools, both children and adults, with this. It's a kind of therapy. And I'll put a little salt on top because, I don't know, why not? So anyway, I believe Lisa is her name and Dean is her husband's name. And if I recall the story right, they moved here from Wisconsin and they felt this was their calling. So this is what they're doing. And I may kind of team up with them because I told her, you know, what I was looking to do. And she was thinking maybe we can do stuff together. She has a couple of events going on that she needs to give her focus to. She's also an author. She's written a couple of books on her color affirmation. So I will, you know what? I have her little flyer over here. I'm going to hold this up. So if you want to do a screenshot of that. Soul Quest. And it's called the Color Affirmation Method. I'm going to hold that really close so you can take a look at that. Maybe do a screenshot of it if you think you might be interested. Yes, Lisa Kindle. Let's see. So it's hello@lisakindle.com. lisakindle.com. It says where creativity meets wellness. Just talking to her briefly, we kind of are on that same wavelength about we live in this crazy fast-paced world and we need to just slow it down and pull back. And that I thought was good. And it's Soul Quest Retreat, SOLQUEST, Retreat, RETREAT, exclamation point. And so, if you have any interest, you can always look that up. I'm not being sponsored. She didn't ask me to say anything at all about any of my experience, but I will tag her in this so that she knows that I'm talking about her. And you know, as with any small business owner that's following their heart and their passion and trying to do better in this crazy world we live in, I wish her well and hope only the best for her and her endeavors. And she and I will get together and talk and see if there's not a way that we may collaborate in the future. So that was what I did yesterday with the labyrinth walk. And I really contemplated doing the labyrinth barefoot, but out here, there are just so many rocks. She did a lovely job with her labyrinth. It wasn't all on stone. It was a lot of dirt, but there were still little pebbles. And I'm thinking to myself, I know I'm going to step on something and it's just really going to throw me for a little bit of a loop and take me way out of focusing on what I should be focusing on. Let's see. We'll move some of these over here since we've got space. And I'm using one anyway. That's fine. That's fine. It'll all be fine. Put that in the middle. Wash my hands. Did that. Then we went to the Southwest Fest, which is a carnival thing put on by MWR, which is the military wellness and recreation, I believe is what it stands for, on base. They put together a nice little festival. I really feel, Jeff and I both feel like it was smaller than last year. So we were a little disappointed in that. Definitely fewer vendors. And it felt like the midway was smaller too. And not that we ride the rides, so not that big of a deal. But usually, I mean, I can find something to spend money on. And it was a push for me to try and find something to spend money on this time. One, I have a lot of stuff, but there's always something at a fair that is nonsensical that you want to pick up. Nope, not this time. So that was that. And then we were like, oh, what are we going to do? And made the joke about it being a small town and there's so much to do in town. And so we ended up with the movies, seeing Hail Mary. And that was our day yesterday. Got up this morning and got back to working out with my sister. And it wasn't torturous, but it was a lot. Ooh, they flattened and spread quite a bit. I don't know. I feel like I should leave them in just another minute more. I'm going to do that. I'm going to listen to my gut on this. We're cooking on vibes here. I'm going to go 1 minute, and I'm going to pull them out after a minute. And then I'll pop these babies in. So that was yesterday. Got up and did the workout with my sister. Wasn't torturous, but it was the arms. My God, the arm workout. She called it something else. One trainer I worked with called them farmer carries. But just like with yoga, when you have your form right, you are really, really working muscles that you're not used to working. And all of these are very functional exercises that she's got me doing, strength training wise. It's not doing anything to, become muscle bound. I'm not going to be competing in any competitions or anything crazy. Not anything I have any interest in. Really, doing most of this is not anything I have interest in, but I know that I need to. As we age, we really need that. And as with anything, the sooner you start, the better and easier it's going to be. Yes, my alarm is going off on my stove. Our minute is up. I just want to finish washing this bowl, and then I will take care of it. So that was our workout. Those farmer carries were like, I felt like they did me in, and you can always tell your weaker side because it fatigues more quickly than the other. And my left arm, much, much weaker than my right. So that was a good learning experience, I guess we could say. Learned something about me. All right, let's take these bad boys out. All right, maybe that minute I shouldn't have left them in there. They're a little bit brown on the bottom, but that's okay. I'm not gonna stress about it because I'm sure they're gonna taste good any old way. All right, this is a little more normal size cookie. Just did the scoop, and we're gonna put these in the oven. We're gonna go 7 minutes in the oven because that's what the gentleman I watched recommended. Timer 7 and start. So yeah, and the farmer carries, have the weights in your hand, and let me tell you, I started with 10-pound weights, and then she dropped me down to 6 pounds because I was just like, oh, this arm is dead, I can't do it anymore. But to hold them in your hands, don't let the wrists break. Hold them in the hands alongside, shoulders coming back over the hips, the core is engaged, and then the elbows are out and forward, but you're not using the shoulders, you're using the arms. God, just holding it like this, I can feel the difference between the two arms. It's crazy. And then walk. That's all. And walk. And that's all I did was walk her driveway. She's got me doing like 3 times one way and then 3 times the other. And I did with the 10 pounds, I was able to do the full rounds of 6. With the other ones, I think I did 3 and 2 and then 3. So, and she's big on your form is important. We don't let your forms, if your form starts to suffer, you're done. You're going to drop down your weights or you're going to stop if you can't handle it with a lower weight even. So I feel like, we're safe in that manner. And I did my little kicks, did some different stuff for core. Nothing that I found to be too challenging, and maybe I wasn't doing it 100% proper. But, because I can't put any pressure on the tailbone still, we modified, we adjusted. These cookies look kind of good. Let me just bring them over here. Can you see? Oh no, the camera wants to focus on me, not the cookies. Nice. I'm going to leave them there to cool. And I had said that we're going to do potatoes with our fish. So I'm going to go ahead and get the potatoes started. I'm just going to, so if you want your potatoes not to turn that funky brown, but you want to kind of get started with them a little bit early, do whatever you're going to do with them, slice them, dice them, chop them, whatever, and then put them in cold water. They'll be fine. I'll leave them in there overnight. They'll be fine. I have some potatoes. I think 4 will be more than enough. I don't think these have been washed, so I'll go ahead and just give them a quick rinse because I plan on leaving the skins on them. I like my potatoes with skins on. Lots of people don't. And that's okay. You do for you the way you prefer it. Okay. So yeah, working out with my sister this morning again. We're back at it. Don't like the way that looks. I'm gonna just slice that off. Yep. And I'm just gonna dice these potatoes, I think, and make them into cubes. Let's see. There we go. That'll be fine. So yes, worked out this morning. Then I had my class. I had 3 people show up for my 8:30 class, which was good. Nobody came for 10, so I ran to the grocery, got everything I needed for this, and then came home, cleaned up the kitchen because I will not cook in a dirty kitchen. And that's relative, right? What one person's idea of not being clean is and what my idea of not being clean is, probably 2 different things. So I did that. Oh, and I made us BLTs for lunch before Jeff had to scoot off for his meeting. And then I got on here with you. So that's my day so far. And I'm enjoying it. I hope you're enjoying your day. I really want to try one of those cookies, but I just don't believe that they are ready. They smell so good. So I've got Missy coming for dinner at 5. Doesn't take any time for lobster and shrimp to cook, so I will probably start that about 4, but I'll have the potatoes done before then. And I might just wrap this, do the whole thing on the grill, wrap those in foil. You know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. That will be what we do. We're going to wrap those potatoes in foil. Going to do the lobster tails in foil. Going to do the shrimp on the flat top on the grill. I did the bacon out there. Came out really good, probably because I had to stand over it and not leave it unattended. When I do it in the oven, which is probably my favorite way to do it, honestly, I do get involved in something else. I'm not watching it. On the grill, I had to watch it, so I'd say the bacon came out very nicely. It wasn't overcooked. It was just the way my husband liked it. He likes it just slightly, like it's browned, but not crispy, crunchy kind of thing. All right, let's take a peek at these cookies. These are not ready. This middle rack may be ready in 1 more minute. So I'm going to give it 1 minute on the middle rack. Oh, can I just be patient? Do I need to get into this cookie right now? Let's see. I'm going to take one of the ones that's a little more brown. Let's see here. I don't know if I should leave it cool some more. All right, well, we're going for it. So it's soft in the inside. I think I want them to cool a little more. We'll come back to it. I will say I like a crunchier cookie, personally. This is really good though. Like, I can't remember the last time I've had a bakery tasting cookie. So you saw how we did those. Kind of a double large scoop, and then made them into that little cylinder and left the cylinder standing upright. And that's how they came out. And I used a sugar substitute. So when you have the sugar, it'll make it a little more chewy even. Take a peek at this bottom rack. Let's just swap them. I want my cookies to be just a little bit more done than that. I'm going to do 2 more minutes. I can't just pull them out at 7 minutes and leave them alone. Can't do it. Potatoes are cut. Nothing to do with the, well, we can get the foil and we can get the lobster and all that ready to roll. That we can do together. So you can see one of the many ways that you can make lobster tail, and it's not that big of a deal. And I will just, I'm not going to need that huge sheet of foil because these lobster tails aren't that big. I'm going to rinse these because we're going to use these kitchen shears for the lobster. Those are the lobster tails. These are the shrimp. Pop the shrimp back in there. Sweetie said he got 4 lobster tails. Ugh. Is he home? No. Okay. Ick. All right, here's your lobster tail. Feeties on the bottom. This on the top. Now, I said we're going to use the shears, so we're going to split the shell on the top. So it's going to make it easier for whomever's eating to go ahead and access the lobster meat. I don't know how it's done, but when you have this in a better restaurant, they actually pop the meat out of it. Okay, there's one little guy. We need to take a look at our cookies. 2 minutes has gone by. All right. I'm gonna, all right, 1 more minute. 1 more minute. I can't do the 7-minute thing. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm gonna pull these out. That's all. I'm just gonna pull them out. I'm gonna pull out these ones from the bottom. And I'm making that decision because the bottom of the cookie looks like it's a little more done than the top. I'm gonna leave them on the pan. They'll continue to cook. I really want some crunchy ones. So maybe I'll leave these in there for another 2 minutes. Just because I want some crunchy ones. Okay. Back to our lobster tails. And just kind of snipping the top of the shell. Oh. And then when I wrap these, I'm going to go ahead and you can see this is going to pull apart. And then the meat will be able to be accessed a little easier. As they steam, I think they open up a little bit too. But 2 minutes goes fast. It's got a warning on my oven that we're gonna be at our 2-minute mark shortly. Okay. That's gonna go in the garbage. This is gonna get washed along with my hands. I don't know if he bought shrimp with the tails on or not. If he did, he will be taking that off because that is not anything I want to do. And I'm going to use the Clorox wipes on my counter because I just don't want a fishy mess. I don't think that I really had any spills, but I had that paper on here that had the fish in it. So we're just going to do that because it's going to make me think that it's cleaner. All right, we're going to grab those cookies out. Ah, look how poofy they are. They are going to flatten, but they're pretty puffy. All right. You know, am I going to be happy with these big cookies? I'm not. I want my big cookies to be a little bit, just cooked a little bit more. I'm putting my big cookies back in for 2 more minutes. I think it's going to make me happy. All right, back to these. Where do scissors go? Right here. And don't ask me because I don't know. Shiny side up, shiny side down. I have no idea. Honestly. Don't know. And evidently it's a thing. I'm going to do a little butter. I'm not going to do a ton of butter because I've got the little butter warmers, the ramekins, that will have the drawn butter in it. So there will be plenty. These aren't huge tails. So you see, I just cut them maybe a little less than a 1/4 inch thick. And then I cut each one in half, and each one will get a pat of butter. If I can get them peeled open, I'm gonna stick it in there. If I can't get it peeled open, then it's gonna just kind of be on top, and that'll be fine too. I think we're gonna do one of each. Okay. And I'm gonna put a little bit of garlic powder. Just a little bit of garlic powder on that. Because we cook on vibes around here, and that just sounds like the right thing for the moment. For this moment, like I said, just a little bit. And I'm going to wrap these babies up. And one's ready. I'm going to take these big cookies out. They've had an extra 2 minutes. And we're not going to mess with them anymore. Canceling. Turn the oven off. Yep, turn the oven off. Perfect. Back to our lobster. And there. Okay. And then we're just gonna, okay, this one I can get open a little bit more. So this one I may be able to get, maybe not, both of those pats in there. There we go. Well, it's actually just one pat of butter. I remember I had friends of ours, Jackie and Star, and every now and again they would come over and we'd go to Costco and get the lobster tails or crab legs from there, and I would make them up. Get the big steaks, and we would have that meal. So whenever I do lobster, I always think of you guys. And I know that Jackie will watch some of these videos. I don't know if she watches the cooking ones or not, but let's see. Oh, this guy doesn't want to open up. Alright. Oh, I forgot to put the butter or the garlic on those. I will go unwrap them. I will. Everybody needs to taste the same. Relatively similar. Okay. Oh man, and I caught it this time. You know I love my limitless ring, okay? And I have now lost the bezel twice. It just came off again. Oh, but at least it came off on the counter. I purchased 3 extra bezels and then the one stone that I lost. And wow, at least I found this one. It came off right on the counter. This time when they sent it, there's a little card in there that tells you don't wear it during this, this, and this. Take it off when you exercise. Take it off when you sleep. Take it off when you... but that's my life, you know, exercise, sleep, all the different things that were like, don't wear this during that. I understand the why behind it. She did tell me that she has a customer who is a swimmer, and the swimmer took some plumber's tape and put it around the threading on the bezel. So I am going to try that, see if that doesn't help. But I'm not going to not, I mean, I bought it to wear, right? So if I can't wear it when I'm living my life, then what is the point? So I am going to give her suggestion of the plumber's tape a little try, see how that does. And you know what? At this point, I'm going to be into the ring for quite a bit of money, and I'm not going to put any more into it. So if I lose the bezels once the 3 are gone, I'm just going to write it off. No more. I'm not going to buy any more bezels. I will be very disappointed because I really love the concept of this ring. It's just, I don't buy jewelry to not wear. I wear everything I have. The only thing that I don't wear on a daily basis is my tennis bracelet. And the only reason I don't wear that on the daily is because it's a little big. And I don't really want to have a link or two removed. I kind of like it when it, you know, kind of drapes down and hits about here on the hand. I kind of like that. All right, our lobster tails are ready. I'm just gonna put them on a plate. Our potatoes are cooked. Asparagus just has to go in the oven, which I could do that on the grill as well. And that's in the refrigerator. And that is that. Okay. We know about the big cookies. Let's try the smaller cookies. I'm gonna break this one in half. This was the one oh, this is perfect, guys. I'm just gonna show you. Perfection. If you like a soft cookie, this is it. Totally it. We went to 7 and then 2 minutes more. That was 9 minutes. That's with 2 cookie sheets in the oven. If you only have 1 cookie sheet going, I'm talking with my mouth full. My mother's probably rolling over in her grave. If you only have 1 cookie sheet going, pay attention to the 7-minute one. And then these are the ones I left in a little bit longer because I wanted more of a crunch. They too look really yummy inside. If I really wanted them crunchy, I would have left them in longer. The salt. Guys, do the salt. Totally do that little sprinkle of salt. Go light. Don't go heavy. Oh, wow. Really good. 10 out of 10 recommend. You made them with me start to finish. You saw that. Highly recommend. All right, well, I'm really happy with the way those cookies came out. That's going to be dessert tonight. And my sister won't take any home with her because she's a good girl and she is very strict with her eating. She will have one probably just to be polite for me, and then she will somehow manage to withstand the rest of them. Wow, really good. Well, that's our cooking on vibes video for today. We did the cookies, prepped the potatoes with me. all I'm going to do with these potatoes is drizzle some olive oil on it and then sprinkle this sauce on it. I'm going to wrap it in tin foil and pop it on the grill. And we already have the lobster ready. The shrimp, I happen to have one of those grill baskets. I think I'm gonna lay them flat on the griddle. A little bit of garlic butter. That's what I'm gonna do with those. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing with the asparagus, garlic butter, and just put them on that griddle and do the whole thing outside. Because it's a nice day. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. We've got a lot of cloud cover, so I'm sure if we didn't have the cloud cover, it would be warm. Yeah, but our cookies are done. They came out really good. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you maybe learn something new and different. Maybe you already do it. Go ahead and drop in the comments how you like to do your chocolate chip cookies. Because I know that just like with everything else, there is many ways to make them as there are people that make them. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Have a great afternoon.